Hey guys and gals, happy holidays and Merry Christmas. I just wanted to pop on here real quick before you guys hear the episode here of the Christmas story is what I've titled it. I think it's kind of apropos, a little play on words of both the Christmas story, the movie A Christmas Story, the background that is the Christmas story we have all been passed down over time. So I like the little play on words there. Again, by now you guys know I'm real big on words and phrases, so I like playing around with them a little bit. Certain things I didn't touch on in the episode here, because again we pace ourselves, we go along in the same old race that we're all running here. We're not, some of us in different laps of the race, but we're all running the same race. So I didn't really get into Yuletide. Again, it's another one of those things where people pull this pagan idea of Christmas from. Again, look less to what other cultures were doing things. And again, transpose every time you hear the word pagan, if I mention it in the episode, even now, and just transpose it with the definition is a set of beliefs and cultures that were not the accepted norm in the society. That's what the word pagan, that's the definition of the word pagan. So all of it does not have a nefarious means or an evil origin. Some of it is just different from what people have, what Christians were doing at the time. Again, you got to understand that even inside Christians there is infighting. Look to the denominations and stuff. Even when you get into certain things, like certain Christians don't celebrate the Epiphany. Certain Christians don't celebrate Yuletide. I bring these things out on purpose, not Yuletide, excuse me, Christmastide. Different things that are celebrated, that are recognized from a Christian standpoint around the holiday of Christmas. The Advent, certain people really don't look at the Advent per se. They'll acknowledge that certain of those things are a thing, but they don't look at it as a holiday of celebration per se. The beauty of this, like these other holidays, I've had it told to me before, is that it's just a time of celebration. And that is what I hope to portray. That's hopefully what I portrayed in this episode, is that it's just a time of celebration, guys. Get away from a lot of the stuff that people tell you, so you can constantly keep having division. Because then nobody's celebrating everything if we're still fighting over, well, this one's did it because this was right, and see, we're going to prove this. But again, it's you celebrate it the way you so choose. I do it the way I so choose. It's a level of respect. It's what it comes back to. Again, we all don't have to subscribe to the same magazine, if you will. I like using that analogy because it fits in many cases. So that's what I got, folks. Just hop on real quick. Again, I hope you guys enjoy the episode. I hope y'all are enjoying the holiday season, because it is truly a time to just soak in the goodness that we as humans have put a focus on. We actually opened up our own, I know I talk about Pandora's box in a bad sense, but in this case, we got it right, folks. It's a time to celebrate. It's a time to, again, you want to look at certain things to see where not to mess up, that's fine. You want to look into certain pagan things, so you want to eliminate human sacrifice, excess in revelry and stuff like that. But a lot of these things, we're keeping away evil spirits and all that type of stuff. Again, it's not what you think it is. Again, it's blessings left here by the Creator through the plants that are created, that grow up out of the ground. So happy holidays to those who are, who do not really take up Christmas as a thing, because there are other holidays going on. Again, be respectful, folks. You got Kwanzaa out there. You got certain things that people don't, look and study a thing first before you populate an opinion about it. So, Merry Christmas to those who do celebrate. And we will talk to you guys soon. Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Yes, I said it. We are at the Christmas episode of A Different View. If I had little jingle bells to play at this time, I would. Yeah, I would. This would be, this is that moment. This is that moment for that. Because what a great, can I just say it, folks, for a second before we get involved here? What a great time of year this is. Ladies and gents, this won't be too crazy here. We may go a little long, so mentally pack a lunch. Split the thing up throughout your day if you need to. It's okay. Some things we're going to give references to. Again, Christmas deals. This is quite clear at this point that Christmas deals. There are different ways that people have dealt with this across the world. We're not going to get into the different ways across. Again, we like to leave homework for folks. So again, one of these things that's necessary in learning the world around you. You can clearly do it from just a little search on the phone. Study different ways that Christmas is celebrated across the world. Just Google it just like that. Christmas celebrated across the world. And you're gonna see. Matter of fact, see, I got my rusty, trusty, dusty computer. So we folks are gonna go in because it's time. It's time to cut out the nonsense, folks. It is so. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what you find. I just typed in Christmas celebrated around the world, and it's got a whole it's got a whole thing. See, but again, the thing is that it's as far as, again, when we talk about these three holy holidays here on the back end of the fall, and it's good I got a chance to do this because man, folks, we missed it. Can I just say that there's a lot of good here, but we missed it. And this argument over Christmas being pagan or not, we need to stop, man. This is the same thing with Halloween, man. We need to stop. This is a time set up for the holiest of notions, which is giving. For why are we so too consumed in the wrong things? But you know what that is? That's just carrying over the nature of the garbage. And there's another episode I got to do after this. I just found out some very horrible information that needs speaking on. See, again, we talked about speaking out against things. Matter of fact, I got this in my notes. We brought back the notes today, guys. We brought back the notes today, folks, because there's a lot of information here that I got to keep it moving with. So we got to keep the thoughts all together. This is one of these I can't go off the old top here, as they say. So again, this is very Christian based. For those who do not believe in Christ, God, anything like that, I understand. I'm gonna be the first person to say I understand. Unfortunately, too many people go around. We live in an open heaven, yet the Christians can't tell people who don't believe in God that's a bad thing. It's up to it's what you choose. It's what you believe, folks. So again, I'm not going to be on here. Yes. Am I Christian? Yes. Do I believe in the tenets that are shown in the Bible? Yes, 100%. But I have been tempered with the truth of respect and righteousness, that I will not go around, again, to each their own, but on this platform, y'all, I'm not going around doing that judgmental thing. We're not doing it. There is something to call out. Like I just finished talking about cannabis, and we're going to get into that on the etymology of the word marijuana, I should say, because it's time to put to rest stigmas, and it's going to tie into another stigma, a very damaging one here in life and society when I do this secondary podcast. Will probably come out here in a little bit. So just keep an eye out for that. But matter of fact, it kind of bleeds in a little bit to the Christmas thing, because you're talking about people migrating. Folks got a problem when it comes to greed, folks. See, one of them things you can't deal with is land sharing. We ain't about that sharing part in the land thing, cause see, this is for me. So we're gonna make up all laws and regulations. Stuff ain't even there. We're just gonna make it up so that I can have it for me. We're gonna make it sound a whole lot of way. Everybody gonna come out with a lot of stuff to say, a lot of hand clapping in the background, a lot of posturing. But we're gonna read a couple verses here. Some got a little bit to it. So I, again, like I said, pack the mental lunch And here we go. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Y'all have heard me reference like a million times this thing about time. Okay. And Christmas time, again, is celebrated in certain orthodox parts of Christianity as Christmas tide, which we'll get into a little bit here, deals with, matter of fact, let me just no, I don't forget. Let's just make a little note. Sometimes you got to do this, folks. The brain is a powerful thing. The memory is a powerful thing. But at the same time, you got aids to aid it. That's just the reality while we live down here, okay? And one of them here is making notes. It's all right. It's all right. So we make notes to keep track of things. So here we go. To everything there is, or really some of these things you see this italicis. Like I said about biblical study, folks, and that's language in general, because we're speaking in words and communicated thought, right? So everybody does it a different way. So when that happens, to each one of the things you're reading, you got to know how they were talking so that you can get a clearer view, aka a different view. So the thing and there are and is italicized. So sometimes you can break it down, and take those words out. So to every a season, right? Again, for everything there's a season, there's a time, folks. There just is. It's real cool to read this verse because it actually starts to break down some of the things here that we forget about. So to everything there is a season and a time, goes to reiterate itself. So again, you could have took those words out. To every a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Some of this is very plain and simple. See, God has made this thing very simple to live, folks. Humans make it so complicated. Lord, humans make it complicated. Just way, way, way too complicated. And much of it sometimes is just out of a lack of knowledge, as the Bible talks about. Another one is because they do it on purpose. And many times they're doing it on purpose for nefarious reasons that they either know or don't know. So here we go. A time to be born, a time to die. And y'all have heard me reference that on this. That again, that's just, it's a thing of life here in this reality. Some live, some die, folks. This is why when we talk about this idea of why things happen, this is it. It's actually not even really, this is it. It sucks. It's unfair. But again, if we worked more on banding together instead of these silly differences, like the difference whether or not Christmas is pagan or not, like it changes the thing. They don't even realize. Go back and study why each one of we're gonna go into it a little bit, but go back into each one of these things that y'all hear me reference, and either other ones that and go and look and see exactly what is hellbound as the way Christians meant again, and the things that are not. Meanwhile, they didn't get you leave aside the fact that Christ wasn't born on the 25th. So when do we deal with that? Just a question to those who are Christian who will listen to my episode. When are we going to deal with that? Or are we going to come back to the truth of the matter that the Savior of universes was born? How about that? That Christ was born. That's all we need to know. Why are we putting a date on it and making it look all authentic per se? A lot of that stuff. The truth of the matter. How have I said it on this podcast before? And I really say it in life. It's like the truth of the matter don't change whether you accept it or not. like whether you accept it or not doesn't change the fact of the thing happening. It still happened. This is what people have a problem with racism and stuff like that, because they just can't believe that these things happen, man. Guess what? People turned on each other horribly over land and resources and women and kids. And this is what humans did with their freedom, folks. That's it. That's it. Now is the time to go and find the stuff to make some amends. To make amends. See, that's the part everybody keeps fighting. But guess what? When greed's involved, ain't no amending going on. We still trying to get for me. We'll make it look a little bit like it's for you, but we trying to get for me. Christmas time takes that element out. It is the balance, because we're talking about love. I got a little note here. It's a time for giving, joy, peace, prosperity. That's the focus. The focus is on those things. Joy, peace, giving, prosperity. That's it, folks. Again, the rest of you got to look at this. That's why I'm saying these 3 holidays are holy as can be. Folks don't have no idea, man. Holy as can be. And folks got all caught up. Christians too got caught up in this little mean girl thing. Oh, look what she's wearing over there. No, I would never wear that. You know, my mother told me any girl ever wears something like that, it's just gonna be, you know, she's just a hoe. No, that's not what's going on, folks. That's her expression of what she feels her life has got to be like. And that might not be yours. But it don't make either one of you wrong. How about that? It's talking about living and let this time of year is living and let living, man. Stop worrying about that pagan mess. For everything that is good and holy, stop the division mess. So, again, a time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted or receive or harvest. It's a time to put the seed down. It's a time to receive the seed after it's grown up. The Bible goes into many different verses about that type of idea. A time to kill and a time to heal. Some of this stuff is explanatory. Self-explanatory, as they say. Again, you're not going out now. Now it's funny, right? You got Ecclesiastes here saying kill, and yet over in Exodus, you got the 10 Commandments telling you thou shalt not. Is the Bible contradictory? Nope. No, it's not. That killing is talking about where you're killing unnecessarily. I wonder where we see that mess in life. Needless death is the term we use. No good. No good, folks. That's the warning. But again, it's still here. Why? Because you got the choice. You can choose. You can choose. God gave people that choice. That's not a setup. Choose to do the right thing. See, that's the point. But God knows people aren't going to do the right thing. Of course, you're all knowing. Of course you know people. But again, to give people the fair shot, what would you do? You would stop everybody that's going to choose to do the wrong thing? No. Choose to do right. And then what you do on the back end is you have people defend themselves against those who would kill them wrongly. How about that? Now, that's something you don't see people talking about. Everybody puts down the self-defense thing. Everybody puts down the, you are the one promoting more violence. No, I'm not the one promoting the violence. I'm the one recognizing the violence is going to come to my door, and I'm ready. How about that? This is the reality, folks. Again, some people just have an issue dealing with the reality of living in this reality. A time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. I wonder why people still have an issue with folks, as it's called today, deconstructing. Can somebody who got the thinking cap on out there, can somebody tell me why deconstruction is wrong? I got the Bible right there telling me it's a time to break down. There's a time to break down. We all like the TV show Fixer Upper. Cool TV show, by the way. And you got Chip and Joanna Gaines. Everybody love when demo day starting, man. You got a chance to break things down. Just take a sledgehammer to stuff and just start whacking away. Sometimes the energy that is put in that is necessary. You get all that mess out of you. That's a real thing. That's why these, what they call rage rooms and all that kind of stuff, go to them things, y'all. Instead of beating up on your cat and wife and kids, go wreck an old TV somewhere for a little bit. It'll save you heartache. Oh boy. The truth of a thing sometimes is rough, man. But it's real. And a time to build up. So a time to break down and a time to build up. Folks have an issue when it's time to build up and raise up a thing and raise up communities and stuff like that. You got to question certain stuff, because there are times under heaven where it's time off the breakdown to build it back up again. Verse 4, a time to weep and a time to laugh. It's I got to stop here on this one because we're getting closer to the Valentine's Day episode, folks. This masculine, feminine garbage they've been telling y'all, man. Oh boy, especially in relationships. Again, I will reiterate, because repetition is necessary for learning. What they telling you is trash, folks. And they doing it because everybody has been brainwashed in this area of greed. Only when you're trying to go after yourself do you down someone else, folks. That's not judgment. That's not upholding justice and truth. That's what it looks like. That's not what it is, though. It's all right to cry, folks. How about that? Can we, Lord, can we just get that in the psyche and just stew on that one? Just, what they say with tea, since I like tea, steep. Can we just steep in that truth there for a minute? It's all right to cry. Weep, matter of fact. Again, the Bible reiterates this thing when it says Jesus wept. You got words like wailing and stuff like that. It ain't just I shed a little tear while I'm looking out in the distance. You know, we see in movies something sad happen and the person just gives a little tear roll down. No, we're talking the snot is flowing. There's some yelling going on. You holding your stomach because it hurts so much. We're talking weeping, folks. And like you hear me do on this podcast, lots of time to laugh. I have just me personally in my life. I have, this is just a personal side note here. I have been through a lot of loss in my life, a lot of meaningful loss, as I like to call it. There's a time to laugh, folks. There's a time to heal. This is real. This is you watching this verse in real time when you hear me, folks. This is for real. This is what I mean. It's time for us to stand up. No need to be standing in the corner nowhere. Again, you got evil of the highest sort trying to shut down people's voices and not speaking, not talk. No, that's garbage, man. It's time to stand up and be counted for. A time to mourn, a time to dance. I gotta keep it moving here. Time is of the essence. A time to dance, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, because I could break down all of these here. A time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. Oh boy, guess what? We're in the season of getting, folks. How about that? And we're also in the season of losing because somebody's money went into giving to you. Now here is the issue with that, okay? You got to understand the dynamic between giving and receiving, and because of greed, it's been thrown out of balance. Another reason why people have an issue with this time of year, because it's been thrown out of balance. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses giving you gifts, folks. We trying to give gifts of meaning is the difference. And that gift might not look like a $5,000 gift. It might be $20. It might be $5. It might be $1. Which is why when you're talking about dollar stores, folks, we really start needing to get on the bandwagon there, because these things are looking like trash, folks. These stores look like garbage we go into. But it's the place where everybody goes for. So what are they telling you? You can go inside a store where you're supposed to be frugal with your money, and yet it's supposed to look like absolute trash when you go in there? But see, it will continue to be that way until those who are the consumers stop getting mad at the associates in the store, huh? Can we stop doing that? You go in these dollar stores and you get mad at the associates for the stuff the company is doing to the associates. When do we stop doing that? When do we stop doing that? Take your comments and your letters and your side note thought processes that in reality just keep hurting the associates there, and direct them to the corporate owners. If the power is for the people, then when do we really start using it properly? And until then, you're going to keep climbing over a bunch of boxes and everything else to get your Christmas party wrap, because at the end of the day, you would rather berate the cashier ringing you up than the CEO of the thing letting it happen. Man, I don't. Oh boy. A time to keep, a time to cast away. It's good to purge stuff, folks. And that's been one of my own personal things I've gone through this year. And George Carlin, I've referenced him before. Very good comedian, old school comedian. He was one of the conductors on the little kid TV show Thomas the Tank Engine. Of course, some of us will also know him as being the historical guide for Bill and Ted in the first Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure movie. Good movie. I do encourage y'all to see it. It's a good movie. But again, the man was a free thinker. Of course, he was Catholic. Very few. They stay true to a tradition and heard a million different back and forth on tradition, folks. You break that word down. It's what people build around what they believe. It's a whole set of rules and regulations built around what you believe. So we believe in God. We made a whole set of rules around it. I'm being for real. It might not even be the ones that come from God. We just made the rules. And a lot of this is what happens with Christmas. Let me keep going, man. Let me just keep going here. And that's the truth that they won't be honest to talk about, because that's all what it is. We just don't like the fact. You want to tell me that the human sacrifice part of this is something we probably wouldn't be doing. It wouldn't have anything to do with giving joy and peace and prosperity. I mean, okay, fine. But you going to throw the whole thing out now? No. Nope, not even close. So a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend. Again, kind of reiterating the same thing, but in a different way. Time to rend, old school word for rip up. Time to sow. So again, this idea of sewing it back together. There's times when things are going to break down. There's times when it's time to repair it. The time to keep silent. Here's a good one. And I subscribe to this magazine wholeheartedly. If there's a time to keep silent, then there is a time to speak. So now when you read the Bible and you go way out later on in the Old Testament, when they're talking about this thing of women keeping quiet, folks, you ought to be careful how you interpret that verse. See, we're talking about speaking out of turn. That is something totally different than women speaking up. And Lord knows today's society, for all the garbage men have done. This is for the women listening to this episode, because it's the truth that needs to be said now, folks. Again, we on a team. Men have done a whole lot of garbage to women in the name of themselves as part of the team. But that don't make up team, folks. Bulks of people make up a team, okay? You ain't seen a football team with just one person on it. There's like 11 to 24 to people. I mean, depending on what side of the ball you want to look on. You know what I mean? We got people that substitute in for somebody else when they get tired. You got, again, the team dynamic is lost on folks. It really truly is. So there's a time to speak. Now is that time, folks. You got a lot of mess going on in this world. It's time to talk. It's time to talk. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. So that's just that. Just because we're talking about this as a time. Okay. Now let's get into Christmas. Let us get into Christmas. Let's see here. Let's just see where I left. Matter of fact, certain things we've already read here, so we're going to get. Oh yeah, side note on that thing when it says the word hate there, right? So the word hate, because that's weird, right? Why would the Bible tell you it's time to hate? We're talking about things of dislike. Now, of course, this goes further now, and it's a middle old English word. Of course, it would be. Of course, the etymology of the word hate would have something to do with England, of course. Unfortunately, because, hey, see, sometimes you just got to accept the thing. For every culture of people, they got something that's innate there that they just keep messing up and it's the thing. It's their test that they keep, normally they keep failing. They don't pass it. And this hate thing is one of them. You just gotta, you gotta keep, yeah, there's a time for that, but Where's the love at? See, this is why you want to address all this stuff that goes on in the planet, guys. It's time to love. That this is the balance here. It's time to love. Again, you can have a certain thought process on something. We can still be. And it's funny when you go to look up. I'm looking up through Microsoft Bing here, and when they show the picture of hatred on Wikipedia, do you know what the picture shows? I laugh through this because it's helpful. See, again, the time to laugh, man. You've got looks like folks going to school or black folks trying to go to school or something like that, and you got a bunch of white folks in the background yelling at them. That's the picture that's on there. Just look it up right on, to type in on Microsoft Bing. Go to that search engine, type in etymology of hate. And what they'll show you right in that bottom corner is a little picture of a black woman trying to do stuff in a sea of white folks. You see it. You just see it. Guys, the balance of that is love, man. And you know how you started showing that love? You start showing. This is what this time of season is about, folks. I'm just saying. I get it, because the gift thing is the part that we put. And it was funny is that to drown out the holiness of a holiday, here come this when greed is involved. So then it's possessions. When it comes to drowning out the holiness of living together here in peace and harmony, guess what the thing is, folks? It's the greed. It's the greed. The greed is the thing. And all of the laws and all of the stuff that's made to just what you call it? To just drown it out. To just drown it out. There's also deals with the hate of a thing. We'll go backwards here while I'm looking for that little thing for Christmas here. Timothy 4, and I know I know. Again, y'all heard me. I've talked about a whole lot of things. We're talking about hate, so we're gonna go past a few things here. In 1 Timothy chapter 4, we're gonna go all the way down to 12 because this one's big. This one's like really big. This was for young people. This is really big. The Bible talks to all people. People have been misinterpreting the Bible that it don't, but it talks to all people. Let nobody now they use the word man, and already heard me. So sometimes I'm not even going to talk about it. Let nobody despise your youth. So that clearly makes a distinction between a time to be old and a time to be young. Okay. And again, that's also a warning there to older people. We need to stop despise. That word despise, y'all look. I'm not even going to do it. Y'all look up that word despise there. Again, deals in this hate. It just deals in this, oh, look at you. Oh, yes, you don't even understand it. You know what I used to do back in my day. Let me see if I can find that, because even in that is spoken in Scripture. Jesus actually makes fun of people who do it. Let me see if oh boy, let me see if I can find it. Let's just see here. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. So, Matthew 23. So, Jesus is at the end here, folks. And if you ever seen some older people, this part I really give older people credit for, because they blunt, man. They let you know. Like, I don't have to worry, because guess what? I'm going to be out this thing here in a few, folks. So, I can let you know what it is. You would wish, though, that with older people, they would get past that closer and to each their own, but you get past all that garbage posturing, and it don't like in reality, like when you live in an honest life, you wouldn't be doing that anyway, because it don't help none. It don't help none. Like at the end of the day, it really don't help none. Hiding what's going on in families' closets and stuff like that, it's not helping none. Sometimes, yes. So like, does love cover a multitude of sins? Yes. Okay. But there's a difference between not getting that person the help they need and you literally enabling them. That's two totally different things. And I understand every scenario is different. Before folks start, again, we're talking about these defenses, right? Before people start going sideways with it, they'll skip over the truth of a thing, because again, the truth is an offense. So they'll just latch onto that offensive part of it. No, the truth is, hey, okay, It's not helping. You got if you got kids in your thing. This is a little bit of a Valentine's Day here, but you got kids getting again. Christmas time is where families come together. This is where all this mess happens. So again, like you got kids getting molested by somebody or getting hated on because of I don't know whatever it is, physical features. I don't care what it is. Who they married? Well, I don't care. I don't care what it is because we all know, folks. We're being honest. We all know there ain't no time for that. The time is to be putting knowledge into people into the young. As from an older person to young, but it's time to put knowledge. See, like for me at 40 something, I don't care about none of it. Y'all do what you want. You understand what I'm saying? Uncle KJ over here, man. Y'all do what you want. Again, if we're upholding some level of holiness and truth here, and we ain't messing with nobody, y'all do what you want, man. I don't know why, and back in the day, people wasted their time with this. But so check this out, okay? Jesus is going back and forth, pretty big. We'll read this. We'll read this off here, because I've referenced this before, and we'll get into it in Easter because it's necessary to read this because this is what Jesus is talking about. There are certain things here that are necessary. So woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees. Can I stop right here? And sometimes this has got to go right out to, this is why I don't have a problem. As far as talking to Christian brothers and sisters, see, again, if judgment starts in the house of God, you don't see Jesus talking nothing about sinners. The constant speech over and over through all four gospels are to those of the house of faith. To those who believe something. That's who you're supposed to be. Stop doing this thing of putting down people. Maybe it's better so that people can operate in life with those who do not believe the way they do if they are the ones who are actually admonished, as the word goes. Pour into them so that folks can be treated correctly. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you compass sea and land. See, this was all the way back, like around, in the middle, end of BC, beginning of AD, right? Again, start getting into when you do the Bible study thing. Get into certain things here, because it gives you serious context. You compass sea and land to make one proselyte. Proselyte is a convert. Okay, big old word for convert. So you getting all your, we break it down to church terms. You on Sunday and you got everybody, you got, 14 people came to Jesus that day. But what are you putting in them? Because if you're not putting anything in them, here's what Jesus says. When he, again, they, because we're talking men and women. I understand the society back then dealt in men, but a little off. It's a little off because again, you got the women there. Kids too, by the way, but whatever. When they are made, you make them twofold more the child of hell. So the idea to convert was to get away from there. And here you did it doublefold more than even yourselves. Why? Because when you and if you read the other context of the verses, which I'm not going to do, we'll leave it there for folks. You got ideas here where scribes and Pharisees are praying and they doing long prayers. And again, these are all the things why folks don't go to church, by the way, because they done peeped the scene, as they say. They done looked at the play. Right? They watched the movie. They seen the end credits here. We've seen it happen. Again, we talked about this with Loki, the end of that last episode. We've seen the play here. It's not, you need to do something else. Okay. We go out and we protest the wrong things. You don't never see Christians in the hood though, talking about get these black people out the hood. You don't ever see that part of it, but they okay talking that abortion stuff. I'm just gonna leave it there because I already know how people are. So we just gonna leave it there. Because again, all the defenses come up into what is going on. But this is the type of stuff Jesus is talking about in this chapter. It gets all the way down to, I was saying all that to talk about how people talk about what I used to do back in my day. Oh boy, okay. And all right, here we go. Woe unto you, talking about verse 27, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like, this is almost like the Grinch. This song, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. So like, for you are like unto whited sepulchre. So we're talking, tombstones, big old places where you're burying dead people, right? Where you honor the people dead in these holes, big old building full of holes, tombs where you're putting people, right? So these whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead people's bones. And then men's is italicized, so full of dead bones. There ain't no substance there. It's nothing but death. And goes on to double down on what he's saying by saying, and of all uncleanness. And in Jewish culture, uncleanness there's a lot of things that was uncleanness, and gets all the way down to saying, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of prophets. That goes on to, Jesus then goes on to talk about how back in my day, you see, in the days of our fathers, yeah, back in my day, what y'all were doing was just as horrible, if not worse. Old people got to get away from that. Stop despising people's youth. They see a thing, you push them to go further and higher than you ever did. That's the point. That's the point. For lack of time, we're not going to go into, well, I will do this one. I'm going to do this one because it's the Christmas episode, folks. So we're going to read the Christmas story. 14 verses in Luke chapter 2. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that everybody should be taxed. Some of these things I'm going to leave alone because, again, like I said, you got to study the world around in which these things were saying. Verse 2 in parentheses, this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. For those who have had this idea of the Bible being whitewashed, understand that most of the stuff that's being talked about is either in the Middle East, which again is where you see most of your conflict with Israel and Palestine, or right in between, which is also right in between Africa and Europe. So again, you got to think with certain things in mind here. And this is just the truth of the matter. And all went to be taxed, everyone into their own city. Some of these things you can kind of get the idea. I understand they've said that those who've done studies on the Christmas story, as far as, again, like I referenced about Jesus' birth, where there's some inaccuracies there. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. This is me as a Christian saying this, folks, as if that, hey, the idea here is that the Son of God was born. Again, because we can get down, the shepherds were not out in the field in the snow. That's not how that was happening. So, Joseph went up to Galilee. Side note, two stories. One's in Matthew. I'm not going to read the one in Matthew. Just read the one in Luke. Went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, under the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. Side note, well, y'all already know about Mary. We'll just leave it. We'll leave it at that. Again, what do you believe? We'll just leave it. We'll leave it under the title of what do you believe? And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she would be delivered. So it's time to give birth to the baby. She brought forth her firstborn son, wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were very afraid. Again, I think if you saw something supernatural like that happen, something on the level of, A Christmas Carol with Bob Cratchit and you getting visited by three ghosts and spirits and all this kinds of stuff, yeah, I'm thinking you'd be afraid too. Not a bad thing in this case, as far as this story goes, but whoa, right? The angel said unto them, fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. It's amazing how people are afraid of a thing that actually is very joyful in nature. Just got to listen to the rest of the thing. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign to you, and this a sign unto you. You'll find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of heavenly hosts. So he's, surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. We talked about that in Halloween. So like when people get all wild about spirits and stuff like that and keeping away evil spirits, evil again, what we used to, like with incense and burning and all these types of things that happened back in the Bible. What do you think that was all about? Anyway. Again, it's all up to what you believe. Shall be a sign unto you, shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God, saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. So we're going to go now from that into Saturnalia. And what you find, folks. See, we're talking about the makeup of a thing, okay? And where it goes from one thing to the next, and boy, is it wild. So, ancient Roman festival, holiday, understand Rome, Italy, we're talking Europe. Now, again, back then when they say ancient, they don't give credit for the fact that there was a whole lot of other people around at the time. But the Roman Empire, which deals also with a term you'll find that especially in the Bible, Roman Syria. So when you go and start doing studies on Christmas, you find that when they're talking about that census and the taxation, which is funny, way later on, Jesus is speaking to folks and talks about giving to Caesar what's Caesar's, and the God was God's. Jesus got to the point at a time where there was unfair taxation, we'll say. Funny where we've seen unfair taxation before. Also without representation, but I digress. The idea where, and I say that because, guys, the idea here is taking holy notions and twisting them. That was a cover-up. They still meant to tax improperly by the time they took these lands. There was no. Anyway, Saturnalia is a ancient Roman festival holiday in honor of the god Saturn. I'm gonna stop right here to bring a little bit of reference here. He is described as the god of time. Interesting, right? We just finished talking about time. Remember I said no other gods before God, folks. Now, that's coming from the Bible, not me. Generation. Looks like dissolution, abundance, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation. All things that you just saw, all things I just read out of Ecclesiastes. Now, when Christians came around saying it, because again, the emperor, I'm gonna kind of skip a few things here for time. The emperor during these times combined for his own profit, and Christians allowed this. And we're talking at the same time when you had, they allowed, they worked in lockstep with it. Funny, because you got the same thing where Christians will back this government today. Like it's so holy and just. You killing innocent people out here. You holding back people from getting wealth that your grandparents and great-grandparents got. We're talking about a time of prosperity. That's what Christmas is about. It was the party that they had during Saturnalia, where they combined the two things, the belief in Christ's birth and this festival that lasted for some time too. Let me see if I can get into what went on during okay. Held on December 17th in the Julian calendar. You got Julian and Gregorian calendars, by the way. One was from one person, Another person, we do all our time off of the Gregorian calendar. Okay. Again, having to do with leap years and manipulating certain things. And it's the same thing with that whole, it's crazy how people keep wasting time, with manipulating time. But I digress. Held on December 17th of the Julian calendar and later expanded with festivities through to December 23rd. The holiday was celebrated with a sacrifice at the Temple of Saturn. Back then, which was Rome, Italy. In the Roman Temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum. I'm reading right off of, mind you, by the way, and we're talking about stuff. You look at each one of the links. Each one of these links, folks. See, when they got that 1, 2, all that stuff, reread all these things. Look for and read. Most of them are coming right out of encyclopedias and stuff. This is already known knowledge. That you go right to your library and get the book. And if they don't have the book, they'll find a way to, because again, everything's digitized now. So, in the Roman Forum, and a public banquet, followed by private gift giving, continual partying, and a carnival atmosphere that overturned Roman social norms. Now, of course, they got Roman social norms highlighted here. Again, life changes. Can I just be real honest, guys? Life changes. So what happened in 1950 something ain't gonna happen the way it happened today, man. And that's okay. Some of that stuff is actually okay. Like the idea. Let me continue. Gambling was permitted. I understand what people think about gambling. Okay. And DraftKings and the fantasy sports thing, when you put money on the line, and there's a thing where you go too far, folks, but understand, just like with all this other stuff here, it's stuff that's down here. You think about that verse in the Bible where Jesus is talking about the 5 talent folks. I don't even know if I have that pulled up. I don't even know if I have that one pulled up. I don't think I do. I actually might. And if I do, we just gonna go in. We're just gonna go in and say it. Because it's needing to be said. And there's just time to get over certain stuff here. So that's 25, yeah. 25 starts off with the 10 virgin story. Really cool story. Again, talking about being ready. And many people are not ready, and the penalty that comes when you're not. Yeah. So, the kingdom of heaven is a man traveling into this is 25, verse 14. Again, leads off in 13 by saying, "Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor hour when the Son of Man cometh." So that's reiterating something I said from an older episode about people just don't know the time of this thing, so stop worrying about that part of it. Kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, called to his own servants, delivered them stuff. He gave them 5 talents. Under one he gave 5, under another 2, under another 1. Every person to their several ability. You've heard me read that verse about the measure of faith, your ability, right? Your gift, which again they talk about in the movie Wish that everybody has a problem with, that they say is anti-Christian, yet it's right here. Oh well. And the power's in you, it's in your hands, right? So again, I understand the part where they eliminate the God part of it, but the idea is still very true that the power's in you. Anyway. And straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded the same and made 5 more. The one that had 2 did the same thing, gained 2 more. The one that had 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. The whole idea was to get profit back. You get profit back with what you're given. A lot of folks wasting their talents for many different reasons. One of them is named here in this passage. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckon again. It's time to pay up. We come due. We're back now. What you've been doing? He that had the 5 talents came, brought the 5. Said, hey, here you go. You gave me 5. I gave you 5 more. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. What's the good and faithful part? The part where you cultivate what's in you. You faithful to you and to the one who gave you stuff. And folks surround themselves in environments with people that stifle this. That's not the point. Thou hast been faithful over a few things, 5 things. Now imagine what 5 things could be in your life that you think is a lot and is actually a few. Anyway, I'll make you a ruler over many things, right? Go to the next one, same thing. And we get down to the last one. Lord, I knew that it's always a song and dance. So this is what I mean about people. When the truth comes to a thing, there's always excuses. You got to watch out for them. Folks who just can't come out and say the truth of a thing. You got to watch out for folks like that. Okay. Lord, I knew you were a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where, basically in gathering where you got stuff where you didn't get it from and all that kind of thing. So I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Similar kind of, less bold than the Adam and Eve kind of excuse. Different type. We'll just say it's a different type of excuse. So now you, again, going back to this thing of scapegoating. Now you put it on fear, and you put it on, oh, I just didn't want to waste your stuff because I know, you only get it from certain sources and all that kind of thing. I don't want to waste what you got. So see, what had happened was, to rob a phrase of my folks. See, what had happened was I was a little timid. Lord. I didn't really want to, we don't want to go wasting your stuff. I mean, it's important, your stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it come hard. This stuff just don't grow on trees. So what I did was I hid mine in the earth, And then it goes on to say, lo, there thou hast, that is here you go. See, I got that one for you. Here's right back to you. Wicked and slothful servant, lazy. It's lazy to do that mess. You got the talent in you, and instead of you using it so that it may multiply, what you do is blame somebody else, anybody else, God, your cousin, the dog. The dog ate my homework. No way. It's time, folks. I heard a person say it a different way. It's nation building time, folks. It's time. It's time. It's been overdue, actually. In many regards. Thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gathered where I didn't strawed. When it says strawed, it's that same kind of idea. You didn't plant there, you didn't get the straw, the wheat, the whatever it was. So you're getting things from a place, because it's another thought process that's in the Bible here, where you get from things you didn't put into. But it happens because of the fact you tap into a certain energy, which is giving to folks. So that you're getting the stuff. Where my source coming from, and yet this is what you did with it. That's no excuse. Thou oughtest therefore, if you knew all that, then thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers. And then at my coming, I should have received mine own with usury. The usury, when you look it up again, we're talking about this idea when they speak on gambling and all that kind of thing. So getting money unfairly. Jesus is using in a where interest is played with and all that kind of thing, incorrectly, unjustly. Which, Lord, you look at interest rates, and but I digress. So at the very least, you could have put your talent to that. Hmm? Don't let somebody despise. If you got that one thing, man, you use that one thing till the wheels fall off because it's what was given to you. All right, so that's just to put that. That's just to put that to rest, folks, because there's just no reason to uh to do what we've been doing here. So let's just I went into a whole thing about uh, what you call it, that this idea of the census of Quirinius, because that census that's talked about in Luke has a whole thing to it and all that kind of thing. But we're not going there. Not for the purposes of this episode. There's no need. So Christmas's definition as we listen to Snoopy in the background. Good old song that was played during this time. Hopefully y'all can hear it. All right, we just let that go there. So, as a religious cultural celebration among billions of people around the world, commemorating. That's the key. Not actual. Commemoration. And people celebrate life. Not even the part about Jesus Christ, but they celebrate this whole happiness that is in this season in very different ways. A feast central to the Christian liturgical year follows the season of the Advent, which begins 4 Sundays before. See, again, the timing here is wide, kind of like we just talked about with Saturnalia, where they start off maybe a couple days, but it went wider. As people learn things, it gets bigger because this thing is bigger. So, and how people choose to recognize that can change. So you got the Advent all the way up until what's the other one called? The Epiphany. So when you get into the liturgical year, Orthodox Christianity, it changes a little bit because they look at certain things than other denominations do. Or the Nativity Fast. Won't get into that. Again, we're going to leave a little homework for folks. And initiates the season of Christmastide. Again, a lot of these searches, I'm reading off of Wikipedia. Again, this is not, the information is there. Stop believing when people tell you all this garbage about Wikipedia and all of this. It is meant, go study go click on the little links and read the stuff. That's all. And then resurf and reread and study. Go try to find out if it's wrong. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. I have found out in trying to find out if I'm wrong in a thing, I am very right. God is so, and again, to each their own, man. And again, humans are putting names on God. So the deity that is of all, man, it beyond our understanding, that's real. Anyway, initiates the season at Christmastide, which historically in the West lasts 12 days. This is where you get that whole on the 12th day of Christmas, my true love came to me. That's where all this comes from. Culminates on the 12th night. Christmas Day is a public holiday in many countries. It's celebrated religiously by a majority of Christians, as well as culturally by many non-Christians, and forms an integral part of the holiday season surrounding it. Go all the way down, and we start to get into these customs. This is where I wanted to spend a little time. I know I'm on an hour, but I wanted to get into a little bit of this, so we may go a little over, because silly things people start saying. Customs associated with Christmas in various countries have a mix of pre-Christian, Christian, and secular themes and origins. How you choose to celebrate is how you choose to celebrate. Stop worrying about what somebody else is doing. Can I just say that truth? And if we would get it, there would be less mess going on. It don't matter, folks, right? You celebrate life in how you celebrate it. So, popular holiday traditions include gift giving. We just read this with Saturnalia. Completing an advent calendar, advent wreath. We're going to get into the wreath. Matter of fact, just real quick on the wreath. Matter of fact, did I pull it up already? Let's see. I know I did wassailing. We're going to get into wassailing here in a minute. This figgy pudding thing, which I just thought was gross. Garland. Garland. So a decorative braid, knot, or wreath. Now this was garland too. This is these two kind of, because again these things combined. So you could have a wreath or garland made of beads, flowers, lei, like what you see in Hawaii, pine cones, which is why most wreaths have pine cones in them. Popcorn or cranberry garland. That's why certain fake wreaths that you find, they have those little cranberries in them. Popcorn, we've seen that little play on it with what was that? The Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special, where they have the popcorn and they play around with that a little bit. So popcorn's involved. Rope, tinsel, vines. That's where you get a lot of these like crowns on the head here. Made of daisies. Hippie girls would do it a lot. I mean, it's just, it is a thing, and it has representation of real importance. Some of this even to the point of like fertility. So for young people, like young married couples, y'all put don't listen. Put that stuff all around your house. You've got priests going through temples and stuff, waving incense everywhere as they were told to by the great designer, and yet you telling me that if I made my garland out of vines or evergreens, that's what? What? I don't care if someone was praying to whatever God. The God of heaven and earth made the trees. Folk, you just heard me talk about that in this cannabis episode. God made the trees. While we're talking about trees, like what you get high from, literally made the trees. You think there's no power element coming from the one all-powerful left behind in the trees? That's silly. To each their own on how they want to believe. Figure out your salvation with fear and trembling. We get it. Hello here. Put it up in your house. Don't put it up in your house. Whatever they want to say is what they want to say. Another one is balloons. And again, we're going to stop there because people like to get caught up on, I'm not even going to go into the other one that's there because people like to get wild. In Proverbs 4:9, it talks about wisdom as a garland. She will place on your head a graceful garland. She will bestow on you a beautiful crown. Speaking of how wisdom is to a person. Wisdom is like a crown on your garland on your head. So this is just to give some context here on this. Wassailing, just real quick. I've already brought up, these are all different things you can look up. So wassailing is just dealing with a song that you're singing. And normally it was peasants to the feudal lords back in England. Again, a lot of these things also come from English tradition. That's why it's good to look at other nations. Because again, if we're only seeing the one from England here, we'd like to know what else is going on in the planet. Everything ain't England. So you're just going around and you're singing songs of glad tidings and great and good joy that shall be to all the people. That's what we just finished. So when they get on you about about wassailing and whatnot, or whether it's wrong and stuff, again, it's something that's done during Christmas tide. You're singing a song. Here we come a wassailing. It's a whole thing. Normally it's a twist where you're singing a song to someone to get something from them. They wanted you to sing it in song. They didn't look at it as begging per se because you were singing it in the song. I mean, that's really what it boils down to when you read it. This idea of Santa Claus, I'm not going hard into Santa Claus because, again, if you talk to me about the commercialization of the holiday, that's for any holiday. I'm not blaming the Santa Claus thing. See again, folks want to look away. Christians want to look away from the St. Nicholas thing. Okay, hey, fine. You don't want to compare St. Nicholas to that, but again, the idea is giving. Who's doing the giving? Matter of fact, who are the ones that's supposed to be dressed up in the clothes? I understand we're going to use verses and all this kind of stuff. Who is the one supposed to be giving out prosperity? You got the year of Jubilee. I mean, folks, come off of it, okay? The idea, the real bad problem with the Santa Claus was that Santa could only be white. That was the problem, folks. You can have folks in the hood be Santa, see, you can have people in Mexico be Santa. You can have people over in Australia, in India. The idea is you giving back. See, you giving to those who do not have. That's the point. All you're seeing come out in a lot of this stuff, folks, is the same thing that we have been talking about in the last 2 holidays. It's folks looking down and thumbing down their nose on people, and they're wrong. They're wrong in doing so. What you choose to do is your business. Figgy pudding gets a little funky, although it's made with figs and stuff like that. There is a thing that y'all can look up called suet. Or suet, maybe, if I'm saying it correctly. My apologies if I'm not. SUET. It's where you use beef in the pudding, or beef fat. Some places say mutton. A couple articles. Then I'm good. So bring me some figgy pudding. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on the figgy pudding. Some of those out there that like it, go for it. It's all right. But yeah, folks. I mean, this is really so that was the wreath. Let's just while we're just looking at garland and all that. Let's do this. So we got it. We got the computer open. Mistletoe, and we're gonna well, maybe we should maybe we'll see. Mistletoe deals in things that we'll do evergreen, Christmas evergreen. Christmas tree. You get into the Yule, okay? And again, we're talking about that which is coming from the Creator here. So when you see these things where people were doing some stuff that might have been funky, that don't take away the holiness of which the Creator designed it to be. A lot of these things, guys, deal in what gives fertility and the importance of it. This is what people believed. Okay, I mean, at the end of the day, you got plants in your house anyway. So what would be the difference between a tree and the plants in your house? No different. We have house plants all the time. You don't never see, but that tree though, hey, you gotta watch. It's silly. It really is. It really is. And it's normally done like that to control folks. This is a time of goodness, and drink in the music, drink in the lights, drink it all in, because it is an energy that is derived therefrom that does not come from an unholy source, folks. I don't know how else to say it. Get around your family and allow this time to permeate some of them walls y'all have built. And we all got it. But again, no one is at fault here, man. And for those who have family that have had less issues, be thankful, see. Be thankful and impart that knowledge to those that might have issues to not have issues in their families. You know, this is where we're at, folks. This is where we're ho. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but when it comes to these holidays, this stuff they talking about much less of the evil woo type stuff, and much more so being happy and joyful in a season of giving. So that's where I got, guys. I'm gonna stop right there. Again, thank y'all for enjoying and being here with me on these episodes. I told you it was coming, probably a little lackluster, but again, at the end of the day, some of this stuff that we think is so profound, a very simple truth, folks. Enjoy the holiday you're in. Stay away from a lot of this mess everybody is telling you. Study for yourself. And as always, look to find the beauty in a different view. Merry Christmas!